Said there'd be no day 32, but this is being recorded on day 32. I'll make an attempt at describing at least the missing days, 16 through 20 something. I don't think that video is coming back, and I feel bad, so can't do anything about that, but I do want to give you some context as far as what happens next in the videos, so you have some understanding of how we went from where we were on day 15 or day 14 to when you see me again. So day 16, we left the end of the long trail, had to say goodbye to the family. That was a little tough. I knew I won't be seeing them for a long time, but I also know after a couple of days I've been over it. Just gotta get through that first couple of days. Rolling trail up to David Logan. Had a beautiful night there. Lots of owls. Some bird I didn't know that sang at night. I've never heard it before, but it was neat. The next day, I hiked to Sunrise, where apparently they've built a new shelter since I was there, because it was an old beat-up one with no privy. But now apparently it's a nice place again. When I stopped there for lunch, I had not seen a human being for over 24 hours. Within a span of about 10 minutes, 6 people hiked through southbound. It was really bizarre. Went down to Sucker Brook, where I spent the night with Tim. Tim was headed southbound. Seemed to be a very serious trekker. Not a long-distance hiker. He was using his own methods, but I could tell he was an athletic man. So he didn't need to necessarily be doing through hiker stuff. He could do his thing, and he had it. Nice guy. The next day, I hiked all the way to Cooley Glen. I was supposed to go to Emily Proctor. I got there and it was like 3 o'clock or something, and I grabbed a little water and made the run for Cooley Glen. Was glad I did. The spring was definitely pumping with all the rain. Met 3 northbounders there who were taking their time, having a good time, young guys. But by getting those extra 6 miles that day, which was really hard, and I got in really late, I was able to get to Stark's Nest the next night, which was really hard because there's a bunch of giant mountains between Cooley Glen and Stark's Nest. But fantastic sunset with this beautiful bird singing, and this is what makes me so sad about the missing video, because that bird was singing his heart out for that video. And then the next morning I got a nice time-lapse sunrise. It was a beautiful area. I'll try to sneak a couple pictures in here so you can see it. Not very good with editing on the phone, but I'll try. So yeah, but then the next day I was tired. I was supposed to do 13 to Montclair, and I did 8 to Cohos Cove and called it a day. So then I had to do all the way from Cohos Cove over Burnt Rock, over Ethan Allen to get to Montclair Glen before I could climb Camel Slope. So by the time I got to Bamforth, I was pretty wiped out. It's like 7 o'clock at night. Setting up camp. Some people show up. Alright, that's cool. 8 o'clock. We sat and had dinner. We were out for a few nights. I think they were French Canadian. 10 o'clock, 2 guys come in with blazing headlamps and just say, hey. So yeah, there wasn't much sleep that night. The next day, I met Brock, got my resupply, the highway, hiked up to Buchanan in the pouring rain, and met some people who camped early because they knew it was going to rain. And so, excuse me, we'll get to an explanation for all this coughing soon. So yeah, the next day went as far as Taylor, because I really thought I was gonna go long that day, put on some dry socks because it wasn't raining, got tripped up both feet flying head first into about a 6-inch mud puddle. Everything's drenched in mud. I mean, just my boots were squishy the rest of the day. I was not happy. I went to Taylor and called it a day. And the next day, it's raining. I get to go over Mansfield. I survived it. It was fantastic. It wasn't pretty. There weren't great views. You didn't miss much there. But, yeah, got to Taft, camping alone. This couple shows up at 8 o'clock at night. They're out for one night. They rattled pants for an hour. They ate dinner for an hour. Finally, around 10 or 11, I'm able to get a little bit of a sleep. Boom. Alarm goes off at 5 a.m. She had her phone set to go off. He blasts out his air mattress and everybody's up. So I'm getting no sleep. And I think these lovely people brought me COVID. Because I haven't tested or anything, but I'm pretty sure I've had a week of COVID. My lungs are really raspy. They're not in good shape. But I was feverish. So, yeah. There was a lot of sleep trouble in there. I went to Whiteface, had a feverish night there. Made it to Johnson, picked up the resupply on day 26, and went to spend the night at Nye's. And that was good and bad. Really, really feverish, and the traffic from the highway entered my dreams. So there was no real sleeping that night. It was just drenched in sweat and rolling around and strange circular dreams. Just exhausted, which, you pay $100 for a bed. You hope you get some rest, but it wasn't their fault. The people there are fantastic and really liked it. But yeah, that takes you to where I found out that the video was screwed up. The GoPro goes into a mode where, to me, it looks as though it's recording videos, and it may be recording them, but when you go to access them, they're not there. The database that it uses to store the files or something, I don't know what it is. It's an older camera, it's been beat to crap. I'm not saying it's GoPro's fault, but it was GoPro's fault. And then, yeah, I mucked around, and I don't know if there's anything anybody can do, but I'll try when I get home to get some of that stuff back. But otherwise, that was days 16 through 26. The explanation of why I look so terrible now and why I sound so terrible now. Again, I think those lovely people went to all the trouble to bring me COVID on the mountain because I had been on trail the entire time, and I had not had close physical contact with anyone. So I'm pretty sure they brought it into the shelter and floated it away. Thank you. All right. I'm going to see what I can do to edit in a couple of pictures. I don't take a lot of pictures with my phone, but I've got a couple. And then we'll pick up the tail from there.